I'm going to make my own Apex legend. Everything from models, heirlooms, finishers, voice lines, abilities, lore, the whole package. I want to design a legend that's fun, but also not entirely broken, so we're going to have to figure out how this legend works, as well as how to balance them. As of Season 9... Wait, hold on. As of Season 10... This game came out in 2019. As of Chapter 2, Season 1 of Apex, we are introduced to our newest legend, Ash. Ash's abilities include Electric Frisbee and a mid-range teleport. I love the movement legends, and Ash's teleport dash puts her right up there. But here's the thing, I want to make the movement perks more subtle. This means no jetpacks, portals, jump pads, ender pearls, and whatever the hell this thing is. My intention here isn't to focus on the gadgets, but instead to focus on the legend. Or should I say, legends. You see, I didn't know when this video would be finished, and broadly speaking, Apex tends to alternate between guy and girl every couple seasons. So instead, I decided to make both. Here's how. The idea behind this legend is that they swap between two versions of themselves. I'll get to the lore in a bit, but basically I want to have a toggle ability that lets you quickly transform between one and the other, each having their own buffs and nerfs respectively. Now with that said, let's move on to the character. Okay, I already mentioned this character shapeshifts between two different people. This is their first form, and the second is going to be a guy. I still haven't explained why they shapeshift, or the backstory on the characters, so maybe I can clear that up. Essentially, there are two scientists, both in very different fields. Nia works in an experimental branch that is developing what she calls encrypted matter. Her specialty is experimenting with so-called stasis energy, and using it to encode objects and materials with data. In this story, stasis energy isn't a very understood phenomenon, having seemingly programmable properties, allowing it to interface with all kinds of medium. A close friend of Nia's, who she met on her first day of employment at Hammond, Igor, comes to her in a panic. He has just found out that Hammond have been using his research in memory storage to assist their simulacrum program, and in turn have created Revenant. In retaliation, Igor plans to destroy any evidence of his research. He plans to detonate an explosive in his lab and entrust Nia with his memories before they come after him. Nia has barely scratched the surface on encoding living organisms with data. All previous attempts have failed in some way, but Igor is desperate. Nia takes his plea, and works with him and his expertise to perform a memory transfer. They don't have time to create a copy of Igor, so they'll have to extract the data directly from his brain. Once things are prepared, she warns him that if things go as planned, he will likely die. With the risk assessed, they continue with their mission. During the procedure, Igor's whole body dissipates, despite only his brain being essential for the procedure they intended. This results in Nia being painfully transferred the data from Igor's entirety. I know, very dramatic, but that's just the beginning of their backstory. There's still more to come, but for now, we're going to explore more of the design of the two characters, starting with their costume. For most Apex characters, we see a very practical influence on the design of their suit, and I don't want to break that trend, so I'm going to have to make a design that works in both guy and girl form and stretch between the two. You can see here I roughed out the sizes for the two characters. Nia stands around the same height as Wraith, and Igor stands around the same height as Caustic. I took a screenshot of them standing side by side and then painted over some potential costume details. One thing I was very keen on having were these forearm braces for the stasis energy to flow through when they switched forms. A few features I ended up using include these red stretchy side fabrics, these calf braces that shrink and expand, and this chest piece that gives way when they size up. Right here I'm putting in the braces that contain the stasis energy for when they transform. Somewhere during this process, I had the idea to add these little nodes that lock into place while channeling the energy, just to have some more visual indications of the transformation happening. Another design decision I made after the paint over was to give the legend sandals. I did tinker with these weird futuristic shoes, but I couldn't think of a clever way to upscale and downscale them during a transformation. For some of the costume details, I used texture to inform the design. Here I'm marking out the stretchy fabric I mentioned earlier using a red brush. I also added this rugged leathery material to most of the suit to make it feel more tactile. For the thrusters, I just copied Wraiths and rearranged some of the parts. For now, let's head back to some of the story, lore, and abilities regarding our character. If you're already familiar with the Apex lore, you might be aware that Revenant was built around the early 25th century, and the Apex games don't take place until around 2733, meaning our legend will have lived for over 300 years. So here's my explanation. When either of the two are not in control of their shared body, their physical form slowly regenerates back to the day of the incident. This effectively means that they never age. They can still die, of course, but not from cell degeneration. Luckily, this also gives them the passive ability to heal if they take damage. You may still be wondering what exactly the legend's tactical, ultimate, and passive abilities are, so here's the list. The tactical executes the stasis transform, allowing you to swap between Igor and Nia. The cooldown time only lasts a couple seconds, allowing you to rapidly switch between the two in a fight. As to why you'd want to switch between the two in a fight, they each have their own unique buffs and passive abilities. For starters, Igor has decreased damage from incoming fire and is immune to slowing down when being shot. Notably, both Gibby and Caustic have this perk, as they have larger hitboxes in game. Another perk of this strong frame is the passive ability to slightly decrease gun recoil and to throw grenades further. On the flip side, Nia has a decreased hitbox and player model, making her less easy to hit during combat. Nia has her own agility traits, allowing her to climb structures faster and higher than other legends. She will also have a longer wall bounce distance. And lastly, her sliding speed will be faster than Igor's. On top of their own personal passives, like I previously mentioned, when either character is inactive, an Octane-style healing factor will apply to them. And once the player uses their tactical ability, they will receive their gained health upon transformation. Finally, the ultimate ability combines both health bars into one for 30 seconds, capping out 150% of the total health bar. During the ultimate, you still have the ability to switch between characters and utilize their passives, but with the added bonus of the extra health. Since these abilities might have some questions surrounding them, I'll go ahead and address the obvious ones. Which legend do you start the game with? The cooldown is pretty low on their tactical, so you can pick who you play before you land. What if you were 1 HP as Igor and you switch to Nia, who has 100 health? Well, you'll turn into Nia with 75% HP, as the last 25% relies on the character to manually heal or have both characters above 75% HP. This is to avoid players gaining a 100% health bar off spawn after getting destroyed. If Nia is full health, switches to Igor who is 1 HP, who then switches back to Nia, what health is Nia? Nia will be 75 HP to avoid abusive switching between the two. What if both Igor and Nia are above 75% each when they switch? If both legends are above 75% when they switch, they will resume whatever health they last had as that character. The health detraction only applies if either is below 75% HP. What if I run into a building with a 3-stack using caustic traps? Well, that's easy. You die. Okay, I know I keep jumping around, but this one's cool. What is an Apex legend without their own heirloom? I came up with 3 different designs and I fleshed out 2 of them. See what you think. The first is a Pez dispenser, but the bobblehead on top is split between Igor and Nia. The idea here is that it extends extra long into a baton, so you can melee people with it. And maybe all the candy flies out when you smack somebody with it, I don't know. The second is a dagger, which I never finished. The point of this one was to have a different reflection in the blade from the character you were playing as, but I felt that this suited somebody like Revenant more. Either way, I turned it into a lenticular display tutorial. Thirdly on our list is my favorite, and for a good reason. I made a games console. You can see I've taken some heavy inspiration from the original Game Boys. At first it doesn't exactly scream melee weapon, but it has much more character to it than the others. For starters, I had it match the color scheme of the legend. On the display, I have it sitting on a looping animation of the characters switching back and forth. I added a secondary display that shows the armor, the health, and the ammo count. This is my first real pixel art animation, and I'm quite happy with the result. There's some fun attention to details, and it was just kind of fun to make. Something cool I added was this hook to put your existing weapon charms on. The idea behind this heirloom is that it was modded from an existing Hammond design to run off of stasis energy, and to play its own games. Although it doesn't fit the criteria of a traditional melee weapon, I can still imagine our legend running around and bonking people over the head with it. The way this transformation works is by having 2 topologically identical models and morphing between their 2 shapes. In 3D, this is known as using shape keys, or blend shapes, or morph targets if you have no life. For a more realistic transition, I animated this bumpy distortion onto the material of the face. This helps mask the 1-to-1 fade between the guy and the girl texture. I made another variation with this noisy energy, and although I think it looks cooler, it kind of feels out of place as it doesn't match the stasis energy look I already established. For the rest of the body, I do use shape keys, but I also use the skeleton of the character to scale some of the bones to make them longer, as stretching the polygons without also stretching the bones would cause a misalignment. You can see here the straps on the shins I showed earlier loosen and shrink. While experimenting with poses for Nia, I decided to reinterpret the look of the rendering, and I made this toon version of the character, similar to how the trailers have more cartoony visuals than the actual game. I forgot to mention this, but I came up with a name for the legend that's less confusing than referring to each character by name. Our legend is called Gestalt. It's a Germanic word that loosely means something that combines multiple forms to become whole. It's also just a fun word to say, and stands out among other legends. I've barely ever done hand animation. It's a very long, tedious, and complex process. For this part, I spent hours trying alternatives to manually animating the hands. The closest I got was buying a hand tracker for VR and trying to record my movements in Unreal Engine. This turned out to be very limiting in the actions I could perform, as the camera can only pick up a single direction of footage, so I had to do it the old-fashioned way. I recorded a first-person video of me acting out the motions. I then took the footage and used it as reference, which took hours to copy. You may remember earlier I mentioned adding these nubs on the forearm embraces. In theory, they are here to help channel the stasis energy and to indicate to the player when a transformation is happening. For the player to distinguish between the characters, I gave Nia slimmer hands and sharp black fingernails. I'm quite pleased with how these turned out. I like how I was able to incorporate the energy of both characters into the transforms, and how they each have a unique animation for transformation. Finishers, a staple of Apex, unique to every character, but they're also lots of work. Now, I wouldn't say I slept on the finishers, but I definitely took some shortcuts, because animating two characters, is quite a time-consuming process. So I hope you'll forgive my efforts. Again, I made 3 of these, and we'll go through the list. You can see what I'm talking about now, can't you? A simple approach, disappear, and then strike. The idea is that in between they transform, but that isn't inherently obvious, as both characters are at least partially off screen when they appear. Now, this one's not really much of an improvement, as you can see. Both appearances of our characters are off screen, but I do feel like this one had more grunge than the last. In my opinion, this is the best one of the 3. It does lack combat, but I think close-up brain frying has its own charm. It's slightly more sinister that way. And at the end, you see the death box fall on top of you. This is just a fun detail I added, as your death box usually pops out of nowhere and lands on your body. But here it looks like it's the one that finishes you. Before we get to the last part, I want to show you something. Aren't we sick of the same old loot box animation? I think it needs a rework. Something more satisfying, cooler, more engaging. Take a look. Oh, I have some quips. Okay, these are good.
Quirky quips.
It's like squad wipe. I mean squad wipe. so you say one.
So you do the guy and then cough and then I'll.
Wait, I was gonna do the girl. Oh, whatever. Okay.
Alright, yeah, no, okay. I can do the guy. Squad wipe. Death is inevitable. I could do like a David Attenborough.
No, just do the girl, please. Please just do the girl voice.
No, Karen, I think I could.
Alright, do the guy voice.
Death is inevitable. Amongst all species there are.
No. Just try the girl voice. Just try. Alright.
I can't even do a girl voice. I just have a really girly voice anyway.
Alright,
Do you want me to do a voice or what? Oh, what kind of voice? Where's she from?
Try everything. We're auditioning, Lucy.
Hey guys. In a girl voice?
Yep.
Death is inevitable. You're welcome. Get Spotify free for the next 2 months.
So it says guy squad wipe and then girl.
Squad wipe. I mean, squad wipe.
Alright, next one.
Squad wipe. Voice break.
Let's go. I love that. Okay, let's come up with another one.
In a guy voice?
Just do the girl. Do both. Do both.
I'm transforming. I'm transforming. Oh fuck, I'm transforming.
We need to make sounds.
Oh my god. Okay.
Okay, how about this? We try the ooh sounds.
Ooh.
If stop laughing, Lucy.
Ow. Like, wait, like I need someone's like punching or something to like. Oh. Ow.
That one felt kind of good actually.
Ew.
Sorry.
This is your daily dose of internet.
When they get hurt, they go, "I got a boo boo." Igor, can you guess it better?
Okay, no, it was great until you said that last part. That actually made me cringe. That physically made me cringe.
What part?
You know which part. I got a boo-boo.
Sometimes like race make when she gets hurt. Bitch.
I'm souping up.
I'm supercharged. You don't like it?
Okay, let's think of another line. These are good. No, these are...
I imagine this is all happening like inside their head.
Nice, they're schizophrenic now. Them and Wraith.
Time to morph. Oh, it's like Igor, morph up.
Oh, what about this?
Like a wake up, Igor. Igor, Nani-chan.
I'm here.
Oh.
Now we're both in control.
Ew, okay. Time to swap out.
I like that one. Time to swap out.
Lock and load, baby.
Lock and load.
Reloading. Enough flirting. Save this for when we win.
We're the jump master.
We're the jump master.
You haven't seen my other side. She's feisty. Mommy, sorry.
2 heads are better than 1.
True. Oh, that's a good one. 2 heads are better than 1.
Found another.
It's just the 3 of us. 4.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
What if she comes across Valkyrie? Somebody's got daddy issues.
John Cal to make cat sounds for the.
Okay, and if you want more skins, just do this.